Hello, everyone. I must welcome you all to our webinar series, Future You, Set Your Career Compass Right with Experts Insight. And I'm Kalyani, your host for the series. So today our topic is how to become an equity research analyst. And in this session, we have a special section on understanding the basics of the stock market and how and where to invest. So in this webinar, you'll find out about the roles and responsibilities of equity research analysts, career progression in equity research, key skills to excel and get hired, buy side versus sell side, tips on stock market investment, and more. So let's welcome our speaker today. We have Saptarshee Chatterjee. He's a senior equity research analyst at Groww Mutual Funds. Saptarshee is an alumnus of IIM Indore and has passed a CFA level 3. Prior to Groww, he worked at Centrum Portfolio Management and Edelweiss. Welcome, Saptarshee Chatterjee, and thank you so much for being here today for this session.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction, and thank you for having me in this session.
Yeah, so let's start from your career trajectory. So in brief, from graduation to MBA, and then when did you decide that you want to become an equity research analyst?
So during my stint in my graduation in Jadavpur University, in the period like in third year, I've understood that I growed my interest about more on the stock markets. It was just about technical analysis, and I was surfing investing.com and all these. It was very premature in that session, but what I understood is I was having a high interest to understand economics and businesses. So therefore, I did not have a clear-cut understanding that I need to go to the path of equity research, but I understood that I like more on business understanding than pure core analog and electronics engineering. That was the path where I thought that I should do MBA because it will give me understanding on the business side, as well as if everything falls in line, then I can go to the path of equity research. Now, when I went to MBA first 3 months, I was mesmerized on the subject of marketing. It was so much fascinating that I thought I would not do anything else. I'd just do marketing and branding. But when I got the summer internship, and it was more kind of sales than marketing branding, and as it happens for any marketing profile mostly. And overall, after a period of time, I understood that this is not something for me. Only when you taste it, only when you do it on yourself, then you understand whether it is for you or not.
Okay.
At that point of time, I was also growing interest for finance, also in growing interest for accounting and investments. So during the entire period, so till the point I was like till the point of second year, at the end of second year, I was very much interested about equity research. I was very much focused that I knew this is something because at till that point of time, I have already covered business understanding, finance, investment management, and asset management. These are the subjects that were taught till the end of the second year, which gave me broad understanding of what a person does in equity research and how it is about in their daily job. But most of all, it is about the joy of discovery that drives this passion, because here what we are trying to find is some kind of a treasure. It's kind of a treasure island where we are doing a treasure hunt. We want to find a very good investment. That's kind of a joy of discovery that drove me. So thereon, I drove the trajectory towards my first placement to Edelweiss, and thereon to the equity research.
When did you start with your CFA levels?
Actually, during the second year of MBA, I started reading for the CFA books. I did not apply for it because, as you know, CFA is expensive. So at that point of time, I did not attempt for the exam, but I started reading the books.
The roles and responsibilities at Edelweiss, then at Centrum, then at Groww. So how different, I mean, even though the field was pretty much the same, equity research, right?
Right.
But how exactly are these roles and responsibilities different? And then we can talk about actually the broader version of what are the roles and responsibilities of an equity research analyst. Yeah.
So in Edelweiss, it was
Mm.
I joined in the life insurance division.
Okay.
Most of the first couple of years, it was
Mm.
more into business analysis. It was not into
Okay.
investments.
Okay.
So it was working under CEO and
Mm.
driving their projects, driving the business understanding and the analysis, and so to find out how we can do better across the lines of businesses, across the channels of businesses, across the products.
Okay.
Which products, which channels we should drive more on, and what are the initiatives we can do, what are the cost benefit analysis of each of these
Mm.
projects.
Okay.
Over a period of time, as I showed my interest into investments, I was
Mm.
given a couple of more projects into investments, but that was
Okay.
under the ULIP fund of investments in
Mm.
Edelweiss. So in
Okay.
Edelweiss, initially it was more on a business analyst kind of a role, which gradually evolved into some more undertakings into the investments, but that was more of quant investments and
Okay.
not pure play fundamental research driven in like role in equity research in Edelweiss,
Mm.
which is why I was searching for a profile where I can do more on fundamental research driven analysis.
Okay.
At that point of time, I got this opportunity from Centrum that was into the portfolio management system. This is kind of a service which we do for the HNI clients. Kind of
Mm.
we build portfolios, stock portfolios for
Mm.
HNIs.
Okay.
So in Centrum, it was pure play fundamental research driven profile where we spend let's say 7 days to 10, 15, 20 days on a
Mm.
particular stock. We try to understand everything on that company,
Right.
how their company has behaved over the years, what is the
Mm.
future outlook of these companies, and that way we build the investment thesis of any company. And it was a
Mm.
focused portfolio investing, which was more of a 20-25 stocks.
Okay.
So in Centrum, it was a pure play, fundamental research driven, not so much on technical, mostly on fundamental
Okay.
research driven process
Okay.
on the equity
Okay.
research.
Okay.
And we were managing stock portfolios for the HNIs.
Mm.
Apart from that, I also did some. There's a platform called Small Case, where
Okay.
I managed to model stock basket of recommendations,
Mm.
where it also generally caters to the retail clients. In Centrum, we were building portfolios for the high net worth individuals. Who are high net worth
Okay.
individuals? At least the minimum ticket size for our portfolios
Mm.
were 50 lakhs.
Mm.
So
Okay.
for those clients, because those are rich, high net worth individuals, we
Mm.
could build slightly more, I would say, concentrated portfolios, and we could bet on more on mid and small cap, market cap kind of companies.
Mm.
Whereas which
Okay.
are seemed to be higher risk. It's not necessarily higher risk, but which are seemed to be higher risk as a companies. That I was doing in Centrum.
Okay. Okay.
Then to from Centrum, now currently I'm in Groww Mutual Fund. It is a mutual fund. As of now, we are having only one large cap as a mutual fund. Other than that, we have value and tax saving ELSS mutual funds. But here
Mm.
we are entirely building the entire processes, teams, and everything so that
Mm.
we can cater better to the retail clients from in the form of mutual funds. So we'll
Okay.
have multiple large cap, mid cap, small cap, sector based, all kinds of mutual funds so that we
Mm.
can cater better to the retail clients and
Okay.
hopefully outperform.
Mm. Okay. Okay. So now tell us the roles and responsibilities of an equity research analyst
Sure.
overall, what all it entails.
So the roles and responsibilities are very
Mm.
simple.
Mm.
It is simple both in sell side as well as buy side.
Okay.
Before that, I'll just clarify what is sell side
Huh.
and buy side.
Yeah.
Sell and buy is mostly on a, let's say very simplistically, sell is whoever is selling the research report, they are in the
Mm.
sell side. So
Okay.
let's say I cover Reliance or I cover HDFC Bank.
Mm.
I write a report on HDFC Bank
Mm.
and then I sell them. So
Mm.
I'm on the sell side. Who
Okay.
who do I sell? So people on the mutual fund side or people who are managing funds for
Mm.
managing real money for clients. They do not have time for covering each and every companies maybe. So they will
Okay.
buy my recommendation, they will buy my research report. So they are on the buy side.
Okay.
Okay. Now currently I'm in buy side.
Mm.
Now I've always been mostly in the buy side only. So the major roles and responsibilities, it's very simple. It's only one role in as an analyst. So the role is finding a very good investment, finding a worthy investment that you can ride on. Now, if someone is at a sell side, they will find a worthy investment and then write a research report on it. If someone is on a buy side research, then he'll find a worthy investment and invest on it. Invest the real money on it. Like let's say I'm a mutual fund, I'll invest the real money. That way. So this is pure role, but to find the worthy investment, you have to have major understanding of the sectors, a domain knowledge of the businesses across the peer comparisons, and that happens when you read a lot. So as you read a lot, as you analyze sectors for some period of time, you get a hang on it. And then you, over a period of time, you understand which are the strong business models, who are the honest managements, honest and transparent management versus who are the lousy companies. And then when you get a very good company and possibly an honest and transparent management, and you get at a reasonably good price. So you do a valuation of the business. If you see that there is a large gap between the value of the company and the price, that is the market cap that is traded in, then you invest on it and you just wait.
Okay. So now let's talk about then a typical day for you as a equity research analyst.
So there is no like clear format like this. It is generally, this field is majorly passion driven, and it is an individual driven field. It is like most of us are given high freedom. Now it's slightly different from a sell side and from a buy side. So in sell side, generally people cover one sector, maximum two sectors, but generally people cover 1 to 2 sectors, and it covers around, let's say, 10 to 15, 20 stocks in maximum. So, but they cover in very high detail, and then their everyday job is maybe 30 to 40% of the time is given towards actual research. Another almost 40 to 50% of the time is given to conversation to the clients. So conversation with the fund managers. So let's say I am a sell side equity research analyst. I have written a report on HDFC Bank. So 30-40% of my time has been spent on research process of HDFC Bank. Another 40 to 50% of the time I will communicate what is my investment thesis to a fund manager, so that the fund manager don't have to go through the entire report on entire details. I'll highlight what are the major points, and then I'll pitch for it so that they can invest on it. So it is normal daily life for a sell side equity research analyst. For a buy side, we don't have to communicate to anyone, right? Because we are investing on our own. So that 40-50% of the time is again invested on research process. So almost 80 to 90% of the time is entirely reading throughout the day, doing our own analysis. And whenever we find something very interesting, very worthy investment, we pitch it to the fund manager, to the head of equities, to the chief investment officer. So that another 10, 15, 20% of the time is spent on just pitching whatever we are liking. And that is very rare. So every day we don't find good opportunities. Maybe once in 2 months, that way. Good opportunities are coming maybe once in 3 months or something like that. And maybe sometimes when everything is panic outside, there can be a couple of high number of opportunities. But in general, that is the way. So for entire day is mostly on reading and doing your own research, finding a very good investment.
Okay. So tell me, for the skill sets, and we'll also talk about the profile because there are also a few questions about profile building. For skill sets for buy side versus sell side, how do you, how the skill sets are different? for these? Are these very different? And how do you even choose? Like, do you get to choose that, okay, I want to be an equity research analyst. I mean, I want to be a equity research analyst for the rest of my life, but I want to be on the buy side or I want to be on the sell side. So can you
Right.
choose that, or how do you, I mean, how does it work? And also the
Yes.
skill sets. Yeah.
So, in terms of choosing,
Huh.
yes. So generally, it is upon how people start their life. So if
Okay.
someone is so broadly, the thing is in sell side, the remunerations are higher. Okay.
Okay.
In general, the sell
Hmm.
side remunerations are higher.
Yeah.
But in sell side, what you do not do actual investments. You just
Hmm.
write reports on a particular sector.
Okay.
So yes, mostly people, it is like how they start their career. If someone is starting their career on the sell side,
Hmm.
majority period of time, maybe they're preferring to be on the sell side because they see the growth of remunerations. But many people also have the aspirations that they want to really manage money, so
Hmm.
they move to buy side. And similarly,
Okay.
buy to sell movement is also possible. So these type of
Okay. Hmm.
movements are possible, but it takes efforts, it takes time, and
Okay.
sometimes maybe people have to take the salary cut. It is
Ah,
it
okay.
is
So
up to them.
salary cut in which part? When you trans, which transition is a salary cut?
So as I said, that generally sell side is on a higher remuneration.
Okay.
So when
Yeah.
people
Mm-hmm.
want to really pursue the
Mm.
actual investment profile on
Right.
really managing money,
Mm.
so they may have to take a little cut so that they can
Okay.
move to a buy side.
Okay, but if you're on a buy side, is it less stressful than the sell side? Uh,
Uh, Not
no.
at all. So thing is, so just see the difference for a sell side. Let's say I'm covering 15 stocks.
Hmm.
Okay. Now I'm covering in detail. I'm communicating all of these entire day, like half of the day is going into the communication. So that way it's
Hmm.
fine. But let's say out of the 15 stocks, I can give a buy on
Hmm.
10 of this.
Okay.
Let's say, and five of them, let's say hold or sell or something like that. And over a period of time, maybe my everything like appraisal in the career would
Hmm.
be through how clients are voting for me. So buy side clients, whether clients are voting in favor of me or against of me. So that is my criteria.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
at a fundamental level, if everything looks good to me, I can give sell to every company. So that
Hmm.
way it's not very, very stressful. On the buy side, the thing is you are making the decisions. And in general in life, rather than writing a report, a decision making is slightly more stressful
Hmm.
because here you are actually the performance pressure is on you.
Hmm.
And every time let's say if I given buy call for 10 companies, I cannot take 10 companies in my portfolio. I
Hmm.
have to choose only two out of them or three out of them.
Okay.
Let's say I choose three out of them and seven which I have not chosen, they are performing better.
Okay.
That is kind of stress that really happens because all time you are under a performance pressure.
Correct.
So that way stress is slightly higher in bicep because there
Hmm.
is a performance pressure.
Oh. Hmm. But then why would somebody take a salary cut and take more stress and come on
Yes,
the buy side?
yes. So the
Yeah.
difference is that
Hmm.
the difference happens.
Hmm.
Let's say what happens is sell side. Let's say someone at a mid level or senior level analyst of a sell side versus buy side. Sell side will get much higher remuneration,
Hmm.
but someone who as let's say head of equities or a CIO who is managing
Hmm.
large sums of money,
Hmm.
there at the top the remuneration is much better than a
Okay.
sales.
Okay. 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 Yeah.
So I'm saying
Uh,
that way it is a
huh.
one is in terms of over a period of time you can show a track record. It's kind of a more reputation,
Okay.
more of a passion of really managing money. So passion is the
Hmm.
I think the first driver generally than anything
Correct.
else.
Correct. Correct.
Second is reputation, and third is over a period of time the remuneration.
Right. Okay. Yeah. There's a question about are there any incentives from the companies you research and sell to the buy side since you are vouching for the company stock?
No, no, no. Okay.
Yeah.
Disclaimer, all the
Yeah.
stocks, anything
Mm.
that I just take
Disclaimer.
a name,
Mm.
there is no
Mm.
call that I'm giving buy, hold, or sell,
Okay.
nothing else like that.
Okay.
So this is a
Okay.
disclaimer. And
Mm.
secondly, I'm not on a sell side, I'm a buy side.
Mm.
So, and also I'm a SEBI appointed research analyst. I cannot talk about any stocks that way without any risk.
Mm.
So I'm not talking about India. I'm just taking a example of XYZ.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
And yes, third point that you have raised is whether anyone gets any incentive from any company to talk about. Those incentives are not legal, and SEBI clearly mandates all the research analysts that the remuneration of any analyst cannot be linked to the call that is given.
Achha.
And there are a lot of other restrictions, huge number of restrictions that is imposed on research analysts. So it is not like that.
Okay. How to prepare for equity research analyst? How to prepare and crack the interviews? So let's talk about this along with what kind of a profile is what kind of profile works for somebody to get hired as an equity research analyst. Like any particular certifications? What are the talking points in the interviews? Are there any specific questions that they are being asked? Yeah.
So I think this reminds me that I have missed a point, which are the skills required, and I'll
Yes.
just combine these two.
Yeah.
So generally,
First tell me the skill sets then.
yes.
Core skills and soft skills, and also buy side and sell side if the skill sets are different. Yeah.
So only thing is that in sell side, because you are communicating, your communication skills should be better.
Okay.
And both in terms of written communication as well as verbal communication, both these communication skills should be better at a sell side versus a buy side, because you do not communicate so much. You can be an introvert person and still can invest on your own. So that's fine on a buy side. Apart from these two differences, but generally, even if you're like running a buy side firm, you also communicate to the clients, you also communicate to the entire market fraternities, mutual fund distributors. So that way, someone who can market things well, they will do well. But that's fine. But otherwise, the skills are very similar in both. Generally, you have to read a lot. So reading and being curious about things, finding things, and digging more and more and more, all of these things, like in terms of more of reading and thinking skills, these are more required. One thing, not
Anything
so much.
specific to read? Anything
Any,
specific to read?
so like things are very similar what you read in sell side versus buy side. So there are a lot of investment books, newspapers, articles, things about the companies. You read anything that you can get.
Okay.
That another difference, which in terms of skills, which is required for a buy side, is two things. Are one is courage, and one is patience. So generally, for any stock investments, three things are very important. One is a vision to see which company will do well over a period of time. That is the vision that you can get about the future. Then second is courage, that when no one else is buying, you are showing the courage to buy the company, or you are showing the courage to sell something which is very expensive. So this is the courage. And third part is patience, when you like wait for a long period of time in the markets, when markets go irrational, the stock price goes irrational, but you just still wait and wait and wait. That is the patience. So this courage and patience is not so much required in sell side, because you just write a report. You are not doing actual investment. Whereas in buy side, you do actual investment. So these two are more required. In terms of hiring and profile, so one is generally I have seen these two profiles are predominant. One is MBA, one is CA. These two are the more predominant profiles here. In terms of certification, CFA is the most common certification, and I would say it is more like a CV selection certification. So if you are a CFA cleared, CFA level 3 cleared person, it's not that the interviewer will think very high about you. Because in the market, almost 70-80% of the people who are doing are at least CFA level 2 cleared. So it is more of a CV selection criteria for HRs and interviewers than any bonus points or brownie points. Anything. So basically, generally, people are hired based on the knowledge about a sector. One is how you have developed your knowledge about at least one sector. So the mandatory thing is, whatever sector you choose, whatever sector you're working on, one sector you have to master. You have to know everything about those, like what are the companies there, how they perform, how they do, everything about those in one sector. And secondly, is generally people are hired based on the willingness to work, the passion, how much passion they have, the curiosity that they have. And the last part is temperament. This is this is again one skill which is required more in buy side than in sell side. Is generally, as uh, Guru Warren Buffett always said, that it is, or majorly Benjamin Graham has said that for equity markets, it is not there to instruct you. It is just there to serve you. So similarly, most of us, 90% of us do not have the right temperament, that we are just buoyant with the market movements and sentiments. When everyone is bullish in the market, we also feel that we should buy a lot of things. But this is not the right temperament. So people are majorly hired. So over a period of time, whoever has having the right temperament, they have the behavioral edge. Because in today's time, most of us do not have the information edge. So information is a lot of information is public in nature. So you do not do well on the information edge. Generally, you have most of the cases. So knowledge, because information is publicly available, people spend a lot of time on these, and knowledge is also well spread. A lot of intelligent people are there with high IQ, and they know about sectors very well. It's only the behavioral edge over a period of time that do well. So temperament is the also one of the factors that get generally people get hired on these profiles.
Okay. And what are the kind of questions that are being asked?
Right. So generally, it is, so generally the interview happens in this way. An interviewer will ask you, which is your best company that you like in the sector. Let's say someone says, I like IT sector. Someone says, I like civil sector, whatever sector someone likes. They will ask, which is the best company that you think we should invest on. From there, the discussion will start, and then the interview will pitch in second company, third company. So to understand how you compare with the company that you like versus XYZ companies, to understand your understanding about the sectors and how you think about all of these. Now, as someone talks within 30 minutes, most of the interviewers know the depth of the knowledge and how people think about this, how much work they have done. Whether it's a superficial work, is most only working on the headline numbers, or they have gone deeper to really understand the business model. So someone's job is to really understand the business model and over history, how things have panned out. Future estimations only come through a thorough knowledge of history. So therefore, to have this understanding so that someone can talk a lot in detail about at least one company, you should know everything about at least one company, whichever you like. So to have this, someone can take courses in Coursera or any other platform that you think. There are a lot of books available.
So Coursera also has courses on this particular, as in if somebody wants to get
See, frankly, honestly, I have not checked, so I do not know. I'm just saying that whenever you find anything that is useful to you, you can learn from it. But the only point is, do not expect any brownie point for talking about this course in interview. So only thing that matters is how well you understand something, then from where you have taken the understanding. So no one has ever asked, no one generally asks also, which are the courses you have done in other platforms, something like that. And frankly, honestly, 95% of us do not take, or mostly do not do other courses like this, because a lot of things to read it on those companies itself. A lot of annual reports, investor presentations are there. So a lot of things are there, con calls are there. So a lot of things to read already. So it is not really necessary someone who is already in the field, but for someone who wants to enter, for them, I would say, if someone does not have a basic understanding on accounting or how the business is run, yes, any course that you find useful for you, just go for it, take the understanding without any expectation that this will give you a good point in an interview.
But tell me, how did an MBA help you in this field, and it's still helping you in this field? And how can an MBA boost our MBA aspirants to get into this particular field?
So
Yeah.
actually, MBA is a wholesome experience where
Mm,
you meet a lot of people across the
mm,
diverse fields, diverse interests, and
mm,
everything.
mm,
And most of them are very good at their own field. So you
mm,
get a lot of perspectives, and it's a 2 year really worth of a journey where you face a lot of struggle and
mm.
anxieties and everything. So what it creates it over a period of time, you understand that there is not a pressure that you cannot really take on. So you
Okay.
can handle everything that may come to you, and generally MBA prepares you for all the stress that you can have. This is kind of a temperament that is
Mm,
getting built. Second is you get to meet a lot of people from diverse fields, so
mm.
perspectives are getting built.
Okay.
Otherwise, you would have thought only one way. But in
Mm,
investing in equity research, we have to think across the field and across the perspectives. And as Charlie Munger says, you have to be the best opposition of your own thesis. Only when you
okay.
know what are the points and in your opposition, then only you can invest in a company.
Mm, okay.
So that way, MBA generally helps in majorly over through the life. It helps in these two aspects. One is on perspective,
Mm,
second is on temperaments. It builds
mm,
your mind for a strong set of character.
okay.
Now, third parties in terms of understanding about businesses, generally, as I have come from engineering, I do not have any
Mm,
understanding about accounting
yeah.
or business.
Yeah. Mm, mm,
So that was the initial level. Generally, that gives an overview of across
mm,
the subjects of marketing, how branding works, what are the five forces of order, and all these things. So
mm,
these are the general overview that is given in MBA, but
mm.
it's just a start. You have to take the journey from there on.
Okay. Okay. Now tell me about we will be getting into the stock market bit in after a few questions, because there are quite a few questions about equity research as an equity research analyst. How do you analyze which stocks to buy? Is it based on fundamental analysis or technical analysis? I think this is something which we will be talking about in our understanding in the stock market investments, right?
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so then let's talk about a little bit more about, okay, how and where should one begin in equity research? How, if someone is a fresher and is preparing for an MBA, is there a way for them to understand the equity research field in a better way, so that they know that this is the field that they would like to get into, instead of figuring it out like by trying many different things and all that? So is there anything where to begin in this career, and also from entry level to senior, how the trajectory goes in equity research? Hmm.
Yeah. So generally, first check that someone can do is
Hmm.
whether someone likes reading and reading
Okay.
a lot in the
Okay.
entire day, whether you like reading or not.
Oh.
If someone likes reading a lot,
Hmm.
then it is at least a first level check criteria that okay, if I
Okay.
like reading a lot, and second is whether I'm curious about most of the things.
Okay.
If someone is curious about most of the things, because in this field, it is not one force that matters. There
Hmm.
can be political events, there can be any underlying geographical events, climate
Hmm.
changes, a lot
Hmm.
of things, people behavior,
Yeah.
anything can impact on these things. So unless you're curious and wants to know about everything, someone should not dive in. So if
Okay.
these two checks are filled,
Hmm.
then what someone can do is, let's say if someone has checked these two,
Hmm.
then they can start any sector they like,
Okay.
and read about those companies, read about one company to start with, just
Hmm.
one company's annual report or one company's con call transcript
Okay.
for let's say 3 years, 3 years annual
Okay.
reports or something like that.
Hmm.
In this process, if someone is liking this process
Hmm.
and wants to know more and more and more, then it is the first level of checking that okay, this is something I am finding interesting, then
Hmm.
I should move more on it. If in
Okay.
this process something feels very much boring, then it is not their cup of tea. Second
Okay.
is a lot of things will involve the numbers. So if someone likes the numbers or wants to see how future looks like through numbers, how history have looked like through numbers,
Okay.
and also the part on accounting. So accounting is another subject which again most of us did not like in the first year.
Okay.
But over a period of time, as you get a hang of it, you will may like it because accounting is the like a language of business.
Okay.
So if you like these parts over a period of time, step by step, you like reading, then you are feeling interest, curious about all of the things. You read a lot of newspapers, then you read about one company across years, then you read more such companies last 3, 4, 5 years. If you have liked this process, then it is a good field for you. Then you may take on accounting. If you like accounting also, then you are in a good stage to move on this.
Right. Okay. Okay. But from where and how to develop knowledge about one sector? And also, do you get to choose a sector when you are an equity research analyst in a firm? Say, for example, in Centrum, do you
Hmm.
get to choose like, okay, I want to be in this sector, and I'm going to do all my, whether it's a buy side or a sell side, I want to stick to this one particular sector.
No, so this is generally you do not get to choose. Okay, generally
Okay.
it is upon the where you have the vacancies. So you have a
Okay.
vacancy,
Okay.
then you will start as an associate. Okay,
Okay.
associate or an analyst in any sector, junior analyst. So wherever the vacancies are, don't just wait for vacancy for any particular sector. If someone is
Okay.
get because this field is very small in nature. So there are only certain kind of people, and getting into this field is very tough because
Okay.
it is only a few people. The entire industry can only withhold a few number of people. So therefore, it do not so get to choose a lot of things on the sectors or something. However, you may start with one sector and then parallelly you can read more on other sectors and you get a better understanding on those sectors so that over a period of time you get to cover those, you get to invest in those.
Okay.
So here no one says ki you cannot do other sectors. The freedom is whatever you like, you just build your understanding on them. And
Okay.
the more understanding you can build on multiple sectors, that is the way to become head of research in sell side or fund manager or a CIO in buy side.
Okay. Okay.
Now,
Are there any tech skills required?
Uh, generally, in normally fundamental driven research process, tech skills are not so much required. However, there are some quant based funds where possibly R and Python might be required. But I'm saying if you already know them, then it's fine. You have got an advantage. If you don't know them, there is nothing you're missing on.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, let's talk about the entry level to senior level in a particular in this field.
So entry level is generally associate. It starts from an
Okay.
associate in both buy side and side, and both starts with associate, then to the junior analyst, then you build a certain kind of experience in five,
So
six
you
years.
usually start from the back end, or you start with- where do you start from?
No, so it's not back end front end. It's like
Okay. Okay.
you start with being an associate so that you build the models, you help in writing the reports, you do the
Okay.
basic analysis work
Hmm.
for the analyst.
Okay.
Now, over a period of time, you build the experience, so you become junior analyst.
Okay.
Again, you get a deeper understanding of a sector, you become a senior analyst.
Okay.
Now, if you are on a sell side, if you are highly experienced, like over a period of time, most of the people remain senior analyst in a sell side. Okay.
Okay.
But that way their remuneration also increase as they have the experience. But only some of them who have gained experience across sector, they become the head of research in the
Okay.
sell side. In the buy side, similarly, you start with a like associate junior analyst, you become a senior analyst. Then over a period of time, as you build understanding and good temperament, then you become a fund manager.
Okay.
Over a period of time, as you show a track record of your performance as a fund manager, then you become the head of equities or a CIO.
Okay. 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 Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about now about in equity research. Okay, there are a few questions. Let's first take those questions and then we will get into
Sure.
the understanding of the market and how. Okay, there is one question I saw about hedge fund. Yeah, how to start our own hedge fund in India. Let's start the whole investment section with this one question. Yeah, how to start our own hedge fund in India.
So starting a own hedge fund would
Hmm.
require a certain kind of capital. If someone has the capital, then they can start a hedge fund. It
Hmm.
requires registration with SEBI and other entities.
Hmm.
So it's not about just starting a hedge fund. Only thing is,
Hmm.
someone just suddenly starting a hedge fund is
Hmm.
not a problem, because if you have the capital, you can start. But who
Okay.
will invest with you? Because you
Uh,
do not have the performance track record.
okay.
If
Hmm.
no one knows you in the industry or
Hmm.
investors don't know you,
Hmm.
then even if you start a hedge fund, you will
Hmm.
find difficulty in getting clients.
Correct.
So either you build your own reputation in the field or show performance track record over a period of time, or what you can do is you do marketing events, write books on investing,
Oh.
get well like popular, you do YouTube videos, you get popular, and then you start
Okay.
hedge fund so that you can get clients.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Tell me, where do you begin in stock market investment? So, okay, our audience, our attendees are all CAT aspirants, MBA aspirants. So, obviously, if they're already preparing for MBA, and if they are planning to invest or understand stock market in a better way, for them, where should they begin? And how to even study the basics of stocks before investing?
Right.
Some tips. Yeah.
Right. This is interesting question, and I think
Uh,
this would be relevant for everyone.
yes.
Whoever does not want to become equity analyst, that is
Uh,
also relevant for them.
hmm.
Now here, uh, to understand more about stocks and investing, before that you have to understand more about really gratification, how money works, and
Hmm.
everything.
Okay.
There are a couple of books which talks about how money works in life. So one is Psychology of Money,
Hmm.
that you can
Hmm.
read. Second one,
Okay.
very good book, a very old literature, but very good book, is The Richest Man in Babylon.
The
So
Richest Man in Babylon.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Hmm.
these are very good books to understand how actually investing in life works, how money
Okay.
really works.
Right.
People first read Intelligent Investor and Security
Hmm.
Analyst and all these books, but in general,
Hmm.
initially you will not find it interesting unless you develop your interest for it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, but before that, we all need investments in life,
Hmm.
and the type of investments is changing in India.
Hmm.
Earlier, during the 90s and 2000s, most of our parents did investments in fixed deposits, because
Yeah.
at that point of time, fixed deposits were giving very good returns. It was giving 8 to 12% returns.
Hmm.
That is no longer true today. Okay. So
Okay.
therefore, over a period of time, we have to invest on businesses. And
Hmm.
business investing, stock market investing is very different. Why? Because it's an auction driven investment. The major difference is, if I do a fixed deposit, tomorrow I don't go to the bank or I don't
Hmm.
check the banking application how much money I've been.
Yeah.
What is the amount today? What is the amount today?
Hmm.
I don't check
Hmm.
every day.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and second, we know that's a fixed interest, and
Hmm.
therefore we don't check. But it's not an auction driven. Let's say I buy a flat. Tomorrow I don't go to the broker and ask. Every day I don't go to the broker and ask what is the price today? What is the
Hmm.
price today?
Hmm.
Versus in stock markets, because price is quoted every day,
Hmm.
we feel that it is not an underlying asset, it's just an instrument. We are doing a gambling or something like that.
Okay.
It's just an instrument that goes up or down. It's not
Hmm.
like that.
Hmm.
The mentality has to be built that we have to invest on businesses over a period of time. Whatever we see around us are all businesses, right? Whatever we can see. So we have to find good businesses and invest on them for a long time. So we have to
Hmm.
build the mentality so that we don't check price every day.
Hmm.
We don't get swayed with the price movements. We build for a long-term money investment. So
Okay.
therefore, these couple of two books someone can
Hmm.
read to
Yeah.
build the mentality.
Hmm.
Thereon, thereon a lot of books are there. Then
Hmm.
once someone builds an interest, then you can. There are a lot of YouTube videos and everything already are present.
Okay.
But the major thing, what I would say, is there are books like Common Stocks, Uncommon Profits, okay, which are
Common stocks
legendary
and
books.
common profits. Okay.
Common Stocks, Uncommon Profits,
Okay.
okay.
Uncommon profits. Okay. Yeah.
Then Intelligent Investor, all
Hmm.
these books, these are initial books that
Hmm.
generally is good for beginners.
Okay.
Now here, what you develop a basic level of understanding about how the businesses work.
Hmm.
So again, what I'm trying to explain is we have to understand how the businesses work so
Okay.
that we can find a good business at a good price. We
Okay.
don't have to find stock, stock, stock. Stocks is
Hmm.
not the right way.
Hmm.
So therefore, it is on only on the way that you build your understanding on the businesses. Once you get advanced to these things, then you can get more on. So like you can take up one upon Wall Street, then you
Hmm.
can take up security analysis, then you can take up interpretation of financial statements by Warren Buffett.
Okay.
Then you
Okay.
can take up the all annual reports of Warren
Hmm.
Buffett. So that
But tell me, okay, so this brings me to that question. How do you know? First is how to study a financial report and make sense for a beginner. So if you're reading so much of everything, how do you know that, okay, how to quickly go through it and make sense of it? And also, how do you know if an article gives you the right information about the stock and it's not a paid information? Can we trust those? So how do you do all that?
so before that, what I would like to
Hmm,
highlight for
hmm,
everyone is
hmm,
that generally this field,
hmm.
investing is a full-time work. It
Okay.
is not a part-time. It's not that I just work for 1 hour and I'll find
Hmm.
the best investment and then I'll make a lot of money.
Okay.
So therefore, for everyone, it is advisable that you stick to a good advisor, trusted advisor,
Hmm.
or you stick to a mutual funds.
Okay.
You do direct equity investments only when you understand the business very well.
Okay.
How to understand that? Let's say anyone who is in a sector, IT sector, someone
Hmm.
who is in any manufacturing company. So try to understand your own sector and find companies in your own sector. That is a
Okay.
better way.
Hmm.
There you can, over a period of time, if you understand your sector, if you understand your own businesses,
Hmm.
then you can invest on the stocks. But
Okay.
direct equity investment is not advisable. And there are a lot of videos, lot of books key
Hmm.
to get quick gains through trading gains,
Yeah.
a
Hmm.
lot of trading videos, and I am
Hmm.
now seeing trading reels also.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
These
Yeah.
are all nonsense. These are all nonsense. SEBI
Okay.
has SEBI has come out with a report.
Hmm.
Only 10% of the Indians
Hmm.
have made profits in trading. Within 10%, like players like Zerodha say, only 2-3% of the people make more than fixed deposit returns.
Okay.
So
Okay.
therefore, making money in trading is not really advisable.
Hmm.
One can think of investing, long-term investing, but only when you build understanding.
Hmm.
And therefore, most of us who do not have those much time to give on,
Hmm.
you stick to an advisor, you stick to mutual funds, you stick to similar
Okay,
products.
so are you saying that, our attendees who are CAT aspirants, obviously, they're preparing for CAT and all that, but, if they want to start investing young, would you advise them to start reading a lot more into mutual funds and all, and then probably start investing there, maybe an
So
SIP or something
I'm
from?
saying you can start with an index fund.
Okay.
Index fund is not managed, like index fund is generally tracking an index. You can directly invest on index funds
Okay.
and you give time on the index fund.
Hmm.
Then you give time on one company. You track it
Okay.
for 2 years, 3 years.
Okay. Okay.
Once you develop understanding about a company, then
Hmm.
you can invest directly on a stock. But
Hmm.
don't just jump on any stock just because of something you are liking for a week, for a month, or
Hmm.
something like that.
Hmm. Okay.
Because you will make losses. Then that initially, what generally our human tendency is, if we lose 100 rupees, that is much double the pain than we gain 100 rupees. So most of us who are away from equity markets is only because they make large losses initially and they
Okay.
go out of market. That is not
Okay.
the way. You
Okay.
start with index fund, you start with normal mutual funds.
Okay.
About mutual funds, there is nothing lot to read. You can
Hmm.
invest in any of these whichever you like, because most of these are wide diversified and they generally track an index. They can outperform or underperform plus minus 2%.
Hmm.
Nothing
Hmm.
like it in long term.
Okay. 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 There is a question about, is financial modeling an important skill set to be developed to get into the field? If so, how should one go about it? Is
Uh,
financial modeling needed?
yes,
Just
it is.
yeah. Hmm.
It is a very crucial skill that is
Yeah.
needed here.
Okay.
Now, one thing you have to do is you have to be good in Excel. So just
Hmm.
the way to be good in, there are a lot of videos to be
Okay.
like there are functions about the functionalities in Excel.
Hmm.
Second, about the financial modeling, there are a lot of videos in YouTube also. There are a
Hmm.
lot of videos, I think, in platforms also.
Okay.
I had taken initially at the beginning of my career, I'd taken one small course on financial modeling,
Okay. Hmm.
which helped me. I don't remember that course also.
Okay, so let's talk. Let's take some more questions. How will artificial intelligence affect job of an equity analyst?
So
Um,
Grow here, actually, what I've seen Grow in a
mm,
very short
mm,
span of time, they have
mm.
already become one of the leading mutual fund distributors.
Yes, yeah.
Second, now they have become all like in top two brokers, stock
Mm,
brokers.
mm.
This is within a span of I think 7 8 years. These two things, these two greatest achievements they have already done. Now
Correct.
here they have one of the best in class data analytics that is present, that is suitable to give generally good advices, which is more customer centric advices to the clients.
Okay.
Here a lot of yes, machine learning, artificial intelligence,
Mm,
all of these things are
mm.
getting built.
Yeah.
Particularly to our field, uh, investing has always been more of an art than science.
Okay.
Okay. Now in art also, like ChatGPT is writing poems also, so I
Mhm.
cannot talk about it.
Yeah.
But however,
Yeah.
what I should say is, as it is lot about thinking, this
Mm,
job is more about processing information and then thinking and understand and imagine how future may look like.
mm,
Because here a lot of part on the imagination is there. Because
mm.
most of the cases, companies they themselves do not know how future looks like for them.
Okay. Yeah.
So it takes a lot of imagination.
Mm,
So in the imagination part, I've seen
mm,
that most of these algorithms are not so good at imagination. What they do is they pick up a trend and they
mm.
try to
Correct.
extrapolate the historical data
So they
and
see the pattern and they
yes,
move according to the pattern.
yes.
But we as humans, we have the other talent of surprising and being unpredictable, right? In our study.
Imagination and approximation is something that
Mm,
we are good at. Now, I am
mm.
not saying that this field would not be impacted. I would
Okay.
say
Yes.
that yes, a lot of new tools would be developed
Mm, mm.
which may take out certain jobs for us, but which will also be very useful to understand and imagine how the future look like. I think
Yeah.
AI or whatever is being used ML to be more useful for us to get our more understanding much deeper
Okay.
rather than just taking our jobs or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. But it is going to there will be less equity research analysts needed in the future because of AI. Is that what you're
So
saying?
till
Hmm.
now, there are a lot of like AI based, ML based
Hmm.
these traders, so
Hmm.
trading platforms which have been
Hmm.
built on these. The problem, as it said very earlier, by is that a trend is a friend until it ends.
Okay.
That is
Yes.
good for an AI ML.
Uh,
They are only relying on a trend.
hmm.
Problem is none of the firms that I have seen, just
Hmm.
name a company which is the largest AI ML based trading platform, or like in terms of investing platform.
Hmm.
I can't name any. They have not been sizable only because there are black swan events very every period of time, like every 3 4 5 years. We see some events which
Hmm.
machines can't predict, and when
Okay.
you can make your losses like much lower than what should have been, then you are
Hmm.
better off in a market. So therefore, I do not see that there can be a sustainable solution for an AIML only IML based platforms. So I
Hmm.
don't see that jobs will be much lower and lower in this field. I
Hmm.
don't see like that. But yes,
Okay.
there will be a lot of tools that will be getting built and a lot of skills, like I've said, financial modeling. All of
Hmm.
these
Hmm.
can
Hmm.
be generated artificially. These can be generated with machine learning. But understanding you cannot generate. So one can borrow about conception, but one cannot borrow the conviction.
Hmm.
Conviction is only built through experience.
Okay. Hmm.
That I
Okay.
think it is much
Hmm.
more lacking even till now.
Okay. From which stage it is better to start building the skills while preparing for CAT or while doing an MBA? Which stage for equity research?
So there is not a stage. Whenever your back of the head you feel the sound that you are having a fascination towards this field, you just start reading.
Hmm.
As you read more and more and more, you see videos, read more, then you get an understanding whether you're liking it more or not. As you
Okay.
like it more, then it's a journey. It's a lifelong learning journey. So there is not a right stage per se. Whenever you are ready, you are feeling it very passionate. Again, I'm saying in this field, only people who are very much passionate and curious enough, they
Hmm.
excel.
Okay. Okay.
So passion is a major driver here.
Okay. Can you repeat the first two books you mentioned? I think one was Psychology of Money, and the other one was the Babylon one. What was it?
The richest man in Babylon. It's
Yeah,
very
The
good,
Richest
wonderful.
Man in Babylon. Yeah, I've not read it. I'm definitely going to pick a copy today. There's a question about do we have, should we go for live projects in finance? Do you recommend us any project?
So life project, there are, I don't know if there like there can be life projects.
Mm,
Whichever is helpful to you, you do
mm,
it. You do a cost benefit analysis in the sense that how much
mm,
time it would take for you,
mm,
whether you have a liking for it, and what kind of learnings you will get out of it.
mm,
If you are broadly clear, obviously you will not be clear on the day one what kind of learnings you will get, but you are broadly clear these are the objectives you want to achieve. Yes,
mm,
go for it, because most of the people who are in MBA, they opt for the life projects, and in
mm.
life project if you are getting extra learnings out of it, then why not?
Okay. Is Bloomberg a good source to read about companies?
Yes and no. Yes, it's because Bloomberg is a very comprehensive platform where you get a lot of good details, you get analyst recommendations and everything.
Mm,
Now, therefore, only when you know that what you want to get from a Bloomberg, like what kind
mm,
of data point you want to get at from
mm,
Bloomberg, it's a very good tool. But it can be a high distraction if you don't know what your objective is. Then you
mm.
start with Bloomberg, you will be flushed away with a lot of information and you'll get distracted.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yes, Bloomberg is a very good tool, but again, if you have access for it, use it with an objective.
Okay. Tell me, what are the kind of questions that they usually ask during hiring? And what if the person is a fresher? Then, yeah, how does that? How it's very tricky then. How do you
No, so even
answer?
for a
Yeah.
fresher, so
Hmm.
I have been in the process of recruiting freshers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even in the freshers, what we ask is basic general understanding of accounting,
Okay.
understanding about
Mm.
business. So let's say basic question you'll ask, what is ROCE?
Okay.
Okay. What do you understand by working capital days?
Mm.
If working capital days are more or less, is it better or worse?
Okay.
How, like which are the ratios you will evaluate to understand the business. So these
Mm.
are the common basic ideas even being taught in the accounting and finance courses. So
Okay.
even if someone doesn't have any understanding about a sector, at least understanding about the accounting would be necessary. Second is
Mm.
someone having, again, I said the financial modeling or at least an Excel skill. So if
Mm.
someone is good at Excel, someone has built something on a model or any company,
Mm.
then it's good. Third is
Okay.
whether someone is very willing to work hard and read. So
Okay.
these three things generally are being evaluated.
Mm. Okay, okay. Does an average academic record affect prospects of landing with a job of an equity analyst? Yeah, how much of an academic rigor is looked at for, because obviously, you did say you need to have a good understanding of, like, you need to be a reader to start with. Plus, of course, in an MBA, of course, you learn everything else as an accounting, Excel, and everything. But yeah, how much of an academic record affects landing?
So before this, I would again say that
Mm.
here it is more on EQ is bit like more required than IQ because you have to have the
Okay.
temperament.
Right.
Having said that, having
Mm.
said that, if you are in a hiring process as a fresher or maybe 1 or 2 years of experience,
Mm.
yes, your academics play a good role. In
Okay.
terms of it just shows how consistent you have been, how
Mm.
much willingness you are putting on your struggles and how much efforts you're putting. So
Mm.
because a lot of efforts is needed here, so someone
Mm.
would be checking how much willingness has been there for you over a period of time in last 20, 25 years.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
academics have a play.
Mm,
However, I have seen that, let's say, someone who does not have very good academics,
mm,
but they are willing to put efforts. If they get, let's say, they get a good 2 3 years of experience in any of the companies, small
mm,
boutique firms,
mm.
then they build the understanding on something on businesses and sectors. After 2 3 4 years, it does not matter so much.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Is there any tips, suggestions you would like to give for to our CAT aspirants, MBA aspirants, or for that matter, in stocks? I mean, of course, you've already given the tips for index and all that. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, anything.
So, one is for your cat. I think you are very well prepared. Just go for
Mm,
it. It's a one-day
yeah.
exam. Don't think about much, but you will do well. In
Yeah.
terms of, then after you are gone into any MBA college,
Mm,
don't be a chooser of any of these in internships or final placement. Don't be a like choosers, because placements uh, are not always in your favor. A lot of competition is there. So
yeah.
therefore, in college, maybe it is better whatever you get good at, you just go for it.
Okay.
So therefore, don't be a high choosy in terms of placements.
Okay.
Third is in terms of investments, the early you can start is the better.
Okay.
So the
Yeah.
major
Mm,
factor about investments is about the time. So the
okay.
long period of time, it is more about not about returns. It's like if you earn 12% returns or 15% returns,
Mm,
it is not so much impactful. The more impactful parameter is how much time you are investing. So
okay.
therefore,
Okay.
the earlier you start, it is better.
Mm,
So, and initially you start with the index funds where it moves with the index. Over a period of time, you can also invest in mutual funds. And as you build your understanding, as you have you have already done your life insurance, health insurance, you have done a specific emergency fund for,
yeah.
let's say, 6 months of your expenses. All of these are
Mm,
taken care of, and you have spare money,
mm,
which you can invest and forget for 5 years.
mm,
Of these, I would say maybe 70 80% you invest in index funds or mutual funds. 10 to 20% you invest in direct equity. Also, not on any tips of any friend. Someone
mm,
says this is good, some
yeah.
article you read, this is good. No, not like that.
Okay.
Only thing that you understand, you invest on it. Even if it is one company, just invest on one company what you understand, because the major age that I said is behavioral age. When the stock prices are low, you should not
Mm,
sell it just because everyone is panicking.
correct.
That behavioral age comes with a conviction, and that will only happen when you build your understanding on any one company.
Mm.
Only when you build your own understanding, then you invest. Unless otherwise, don't invest on anyone's tips.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, I would like to thank all the attendees and thank you so much, Saptarshee Chatterjee, for the insights on not just equity research analyst, a career in that, and plus, of course, also on stock investments and how to begin investments. Thank you so much.